You know, we've had a lot of fun with trigger warning, but what can we take from it? I will tell you what now. I don't exactly believe that J.A. Johnston is the author. She's a 60-something woman and she writes like an out-of-touch male millennial. The male gaze, the self-righteousness, the weird details, the masculinity fetish, and the quasi-streetwise references to things young people say. J.A., if you did write this, my apologies. You do a brilliant impression of a clueless younger man. I'm gonna guess that since William Johnston's death, J.A. oversees a team of ghostwriters and checks their drafts, and ensures that each book has a treacherous woman, a few hardy old men, and a guy called Jake in, and gives them the William Johnston stamp. So, the title. It's a broad reference to trigger warnings, a policy of pointing out certain content that might upset some people due to their past experiences, their trauma. Often actual trauma. Don't make me list types of trauma. It's like you get at the start of TV shows, like we've always had. It's amazing how this is seen as part of some liberal conspiracy. I've realized in retrospect that a trigger warning would have been appropriate for this video series due to the book's constant dismissals of bigotry, plot with bomb threats, guns, assault and murder, cruel portrayal of a Middle Eastern man, careless references to rape and trauma, and how bad my American voices are. Then there's safe spaces. This is a policy that some student unions and meetings have to ensure that everybody feels, safe. In a safe space environment, we agree not to tolerate bullying. It's a contract you make when attending such a meeting to offset some of the bias that literally is there. Go and read something. It's not perfect, it's worth the occasional challenge, but it's generally a good thing. Those who mock safe spaces are those who have always had guaranteed safety. Microaggressions are the book's favorite reference, and the author doesn't really know what they are, they've just pieced it together from the word. They're tiny, often subliminal behaviors where we treat people differently and often worse due to being in a marginalized group. I kind of wish the word didn't have aggression in it because that's easy to misinterpret when you're a right-wing dolt. It's specifically not like aggression in that it's not intentional. It's real, it's a fascinating thing to look into, and if you can't acknowledge the subtleties of communication, you don't really deserve to communicate. Then there's all the labels. Jake and Natalie have been called bigots, homophobes, sexist, racist. It doesn't go into the details, so in the book world, these are pretty baseless. But real people get called these things, and we must stop this oppression when it happens. When they do it. Here's a life hack for when you get called racist, sexist, or homophobic. Apologize and stop doing that thing you did. They'll stop calling you it, you'll stop being it, everyone wins. You kinda win more because they'll have nothing left to label offensive. I can't nitpick every example of these prejudices, but they happen, and often on the tiniest scale. Micro even. Jake calls himself a conservative, but I think he's closer to the contemporary American definition of a libertarian. He just wants to be left alone, which is fine and dandy when you're not in an oppressed group. I don't think his mentality is all that bad really, he's just never had to consider other people's experiences, so he never has. And in this regard, behind all the muscle and pomp, Jake is a real dude. This is a current zeitgeist, especially in the USA and on YouTube. And we shouldn't really let it call itself libertarianism, it's reactionaryism. A movement of proud ignorance. Ignorance is their political affiliation. To all the Jakes out there, other people being treated as your equals is not oppression. We do basically think the same way, just some of us think further and listen to others. Johnston or whoever, thanks for your ridiculous book, I've clearly enjoyed it. I know it wasn't meant as high art. I'm looking forward to Jake's further adventures travelling the USA to take down anti-fascists and brown people, and to escape the tyranny of a Democrat-controlled president. Supreme Court, Are universities too censorious? I don't know, some bits sound pretty rubbish, but it's always well-meaning and in the name of unstripping the long-set prejudices. If you hear out the perspectives, you might see why they don't like fascism or hate and don't want it gaining a platform. Fascism is currently on the rise via right-wing ideology, surprisingly. If you hate restrictive policies, then what about the prejudices in our culture that those policies are against? That's the bigger restriction, keeping people of minorities from certain opportunities. If you learn to understand how oppression works, like maybe take a college course in it, then you can better confront it. If there seems to be a bias against conservatism, it is kind of just because conservatism belongs in the past. It directly hurts loads of people, and universities are places for intelligence and inclusivity. Thanks for watching, thanks for sticking around for the boring extra bit. I'm off to oppress some conservatives.
Jake Rivers, spider of the wild, wild left. His bigger, grants him some amazing heft, and he's deaf with a pistol. He upsets snowflakes who use #resisto. They're trigger, but he doesn't give an F. They say he's sexist, those liberals of Texas, and they attack him, so he gives them a smacking. They say he's racist and run to their safe spaces. They call him bigot just cause he says what they don't wanna hear. Jake Rivers, product of a simpler time, when men were men and life was fine, way before these minorities got in charge and enforced all their policies. They're making Jake into a kind of human crime. Here's Connor's black, but he's a stand-up guy. He's gonna honor liberty and realize that it's right, but his trust in Rivers and turn his back against the Muslim. McClaney bravely serves us with his watchful eye. Now the school's under attack with only Rivers fighting back. He's got the power and the tactics to defeat him. Professor Burke, she was a snoot, but then she left that evil group and she apologized for how she had deceived him. And then his secret uncle Dog heard the commotion, came along and helped expel them, the terrorists of Kelton. And now Jake is rambling on to take the Rivers mental on and be a vigilante dog against the evil forces of the libtard way. Riding out across the USA, showing them that progress doesn't pay.